Do you know a child going through something? Okay. I'm Brandy von Holten, and I'm a children's book author, and I write books that are to help children. Okay. My first two books were upbeat and fun, and it's about mounted archery. My third book, which is Adventures at Von Holten Ranch, Chalkboard, and this is Chalkboard. I actually write on her with chalk. It is about a horse that had a rough childhood, and she has to learn to love again and move forward. And the book is about how going through something rough in your life or having a rough chapter, it doesn't define you. It's just part of who you are, okay? Now, I'll tell you an observation, okay? I just did inventory on my books, okay? This book right here has a lot more boxes left than my first two books. This right here is about my horse, KTM. It's about how one positive person can make a difference in the world, and he's trying to make a difference in the horse industry. That book has sold a lot of copies. This book right here, that book it's in all 50 states and 4 countries. This one right here is about my mule Jojo. It's where it doesn't matter what you look like to go for your goal, and he finds what he's good at, which is mounted archery. And these books are all based on true events, okay? This book right here is the book that I know can change lives, and I'm going to read the first chapter to you. However, I think that this book right here has undersold the other because some people have those children that are going through those rough times, and they do not want to admit it or deal with it, okay? So if you are a grandparent and you see maybe your kids are not raising your grandkids 100%, or maybe you're a foster parent, you know, and you've got some kids that have went through some difficult times, man, maybe you're the aunt or the uncle. Maybe you're the friend of, you know, someone and their kids are going through some hard times. This book right here, so in this children's book, this horse had to learn to love again. And she had a rough childhood, but she goes on to understand the pieces of that rough childhood as she gets older, okay? And there's different parts in her life where she thought that, like this horse right here was my #1 horse for a long time. And I actually sold her to one of our interns, but it was because our intern needed a horse to go check cattle because he's at his grandparents' house and the grandparents are aging, okay? So in the book, she felt like another person left her, but it was for her own good and for the good of helping out the aging cattle rancher, okay? And then she figures that out, okay? So I'm going to read a little bit of this. This book right here, I think that I want to get this book into the hands of school counselors. I want to get the book into the hands of police officers whenever they have to go and arrest kids' parents when they're doing something that they shouldn't be doing. I wish that they had something to give to the child, okay? And plus, this right here, a lot of adults need to read this book. All of my books have a moral lesson. I used to be a school teacher, and I felt like the schools needed something a little bit more rough and raw to connect with the kids because, my gosh, think about what the kids have went through. It's 2026, and like, even if they're just 10 years old, everything that they have went through in their life it's a lot. We've had a lot of life-changing events and a lot of things that they shouldn't have had to dealt with, they've had to deal with. It's not an easy world out there. And you know what? Now with so much negativity on social media, it's just such a different world out there that I really think that we do need to focus on mental health. Not just for adults, but most definitely for children. And so I am a child that had some rough parts in my life. and I came out on the good side, right? So I'm going to read to you this first chapter, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. By the way, my name is Brandy Von Holten. I live at a horse ranch. We won Missouri's Best Ranch for the last couple of years. And so all of these horses are alive and well. And I want to travel across the United States and bring these horses, or at least one, and let the kids meet an author. And I really think they're going to find a bunch of connection with this. Okay. So this right here, Adventures at Von Holten Ranch, Chalkboard. And, they're available on my website. Okay, I cannot get the page to open up. All right, I want to read the dedication, okay? Dedicated to my husband, David Von Holten, for knowing that broken crayons still create art. Thank you for being the man you are to handle the woman I am. Thank you to my horse, Chalkboard, for being the difficult horse I needed to grow as a horsewoman and as a person. And thank you to the world that stacked the cards against me. You made me strong and wise. Okay, so here we go. Let's start with Chapter 1, Grateful for My Rough Past. And you know what? I will tell you, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to get to that point in your life where you are actually grateful for the hardships that you went through. They make you wise, and a lot of kids are wise way before they should have been wise. Okay? All right, here we go. So this is Chalkboard, and you can see why we call her Chalkboard right there, because we could write on her with chalk. Okay. Repeat after me. I am enough. I am loved. I deserve the love given to me. Now, don't let my name fool you into thinking I am only a child's horse. I am as tough as nails, and not one cow will ever get past me or touch my cowboy. My name is Chalkboard. I am the darkest, richest, deepest black you will ever see. This is how I came about the name Chalkboard. Almost every strand of hair on me is black. I have a small white circle of hair on my face called a star that is whiter than the color of the first winter snow. I was used for several years as a, you guessed it, chalkboard. Turns out if you dip fluorescent sidewalk chalk into water and then write on me, I become an interactive, living, breathing chalkboard. Feeling the chalk slightly pressed against me feels like a day at the spa. Plus, hearing the innocent giggles of little girls and boys as they draw hearts and balloons and write their name on me brings me to my happy place. I've come to know that children and people in my life love me with all their heart. My life now is exactly how it should be, but let me tell you, my journey to get here was filled with crushing heartache, unnecessary lies, enough pain for 3 lifetimes, and the hardest of hard times. When I hear others explain their struggles, I find myself thinking, when do you get to the really hard part? Or, that's it? That is your big bad problem? Please. That's nothing compared to what I have endured. Honestly, it is exhausting to tell my story. To mentally relive it takes an immense amount of energy. I learned early on that life is not fair, and the faster you recover from the ups and downs, the happier you can be. Brandy, the lady that changed my life, once explained the reason she loved the subject of math. According to her, math is the only true example of where one side must equal the other, also known as being fair. In math, a solution can always be found. You just have to be willing to put in the work to find it. I now understand that without the struggles as a young foal, I would not have become the mare I am today. Sometimes the lessons someone learns from their childhood is how not to live their life rather than how to live their life. Sometimes the child must be the grown-up. Sometimes the best thing about someone's childhood is when it's over and they become an adult. I am here today to tell you that I have learned to love and trust again. Good people exist, and my life matters. All right. My days are now filled with checking cows and mending fences with my cowboy, Andrew. Andrew is my 5th and final owner. I am home. However, my journey started with the only other white hair on me other than my star, an X check mark branded on my hip. All right, so there are questions at the end of chapter 1, okay? Chapter 1, so this is called, it's just a reading recall roundup, okay? Question 1, why was Chalkboard given her name? Question 2, does the chalk hurt Chalkboard? Question 3, where is Chalkboard's star located? Question 4, did Chalkboard go through troubled times? Okay, so that's the beginning of this book. The next chapter is called In the Beginning. Chapter 3 is called Von Holten Ranch. It's about when she finally came here. Chapter 4, here I'll just go to the table of contents. This book right here meant a lot to me to write, and I know that, you know, kids don't want to have a child just tell them, you know, like, oh, you're going through hard times, but it's going to get better and everything's going to turn out all right as long as you don't repeat it, okay? They don't want to listen to adults, but if they can read about this and read about Chalkboard and then draw those conclusions themselves, then you can help them get through some things. So I'm Brandy Von Holten. This right here is my 3rd book. My 4th book is coming out soon. I've had it written for a year. It's supposed to have already been out, and it's called Adventures at Von Holten Ranch, Coco. And Coco has a damaged ligament in her leg, but we are trying to figure out if it's going to end up affecting her. And so her book's about now how all scars are not visible. Okay, so that book is going to really connect with people. But this book right here, I just did that inventory, and I have like 14 boxes left of this one, and my other 2 books only had 2 boxes each, which is, it's going to be a good thing for me because I want to put the picture on here instead of like the coloring book photo. I do have a coloring book, but I just think it's ironic because this book right here is the one that I need to get into the hands, but I think a lot of people, I think it's going to have to be people that are able to see from outside looking in to be able to maybe give the kids all 3 books, so then you could slip that other one in, you know, to be like, hey, I know you're going through something rough, but there's a good side on the other side of it. All right, so I'm Brandy Von Holten, and you can find me all up on some social media everywhere, and I do business coaching. And but the biggest thing that we do is we own a horse trail riding facility, and people come and visit us from all over the United States. So if this book right here connects to children in your life, then I would, you know, a lot of times they idolize authors, and I think it would be really good for them to see somebody that makes it through some stuff and ends up on a positive side on the other side of that. All right, thank y'all, and I hope that you check out that book and get it for someone in your life that needs to hear that lesson.